Welcome to Delightfully Dysfunctional, a podcast about navigating the emotions of the human condition and the challenges that come with it. I'm Kaylani Persian Mason, a psychotherapist and life coach with James Timmons, an ever-curious human. This is not a replacement for mental health therapy. Please seek out mental health care if that's what you're needing. This is an opportunity for self-healers to dive deep and understand more about themselves. Welcome back to Delightfully Dysfunctional. I'm Kaylani. I'm joined by James.
Hi.
And today we have a very special guest, Jamie Kincaid. She's going to be sharing more about her self-love women's retreats that she has designed and really the process of turning your passion into your business. And I feel really grateful that I've gotten to see some of that work, that process behind the scenes in our friendship, Jamie. And it's something that I really thoroughly enjoy helping people do, is really leaning into what their purpose is, what their passion is, and how they can spread it and make that message louder and bolder.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes. And James is extra excited because what episode number is this, James?
Well, I didn't want to talk about it, Kehlani, but if you insist on being inappropriate.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Episode 69.
Yeah. He'd only mentioned it like 10 times before we started recording, but I'm embarrassing.
Here's the clapboard. It says that on the top. Can you see?
So proud.
See? Episode 69.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
Aren't you glad you get to bear witness to this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel honored.
Honored.
You should. This is like, we've circled this, or I can't speak for Kehlani, but I've certainly circled this number since the beginning, day one.
This was the goal. Are you done after this?
Probably.
You're like,
probably, yeah.
All right. My goal is to start
right
a
off into the
podcast
sunset.
and get to episode 69, and then I'm out.
Yeah, I'm sure Kaylani had it circled on her calendar, too.
Yeah. Oh dear. Okay, we got to get back on track. We're in the gutter. Already in the gutter right off the gate. We were just talking a little bit off camera and out before recording about the self-love retreats. I kind of want to tell people more about that right off the bat, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I had the honor of getting to not only participate, but be a presenter in one of Jamie's self-love retreats. These are retreats that are designed for women and always offer so much, especially in the form of community. So could you share a little bit about what people can expect from the upcoming retreat that will be happening in September?
Yes. So this will be my fourth retreat, which I'm super excited about because when I very first started, I didn't expect it to go anywhere. You know, you always have that in the back of your mind, like this is going to be my only one and it's going to be a terrible flop and all the imposter syndrome creeps in. But I'm super excited that it's grown and I've been able to host 3 already of this nature. And so this will be my 4th annual retreat. I do one a year. And what we're going to do is basically we create community and safety for women to be vulnerable, which is kind of a core concept of self-care, is being vulnerable enough to heal and to be open. And one of the things that we talked about last year was how vulnerability is necessary to create community. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. So we create a safe space for women to be vulnerable. We're going to have Dr. Irene Luke there. She's going to be presenting on breath work and mindfulness.
I love Irene. She's so amazing.
She's amazing.
She's one of my besties. So
Actually, I think that I may have met her through you.
I think I did pass on her name. Yes, I'm so excited that she'll be there.
She presented at last year's and she's coming back for another presentation at this year's. And so she's going to be talking about the importance of meditation and mindfulness and doing a breathwork exercise. And then I also have a nutrition coach, Lena Garza, who's going to be presenting, and she's going to be doing a workshop that she calls body bonding, which is basically getting back to reconnecting with yourself and your body and how your body responds to different things happening around you and just how you can change that response to be a more positive one and more healthy. I have a life coach, Rachel Go, out of Walla Walla. She presented last year as well, but this year she's going to be presenting on goal setting and intrinsic motivation. And then she's also going to be talking a little bit about how important it is to work self-care into your schedule.
I need help with that.
Yes.
Even as a therapist, I know I tell other people, but I think it's something that really needs constant tending.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's so hard because if it's not written down, you don't do it. And so I actually have a planner every day that I write down. Like I have my to-do list for me, and then I have my to-do list for my business. And on the me to-do list every single day, I write meditation, tapping, and reading.
Yeah.
And I make sure that I do that at least once a day. Like if I sit down and read for 10 minutes and then I have something else I have to do, that's fine. At least I was able to, because I love to read and it makes me happy. So as long as I can incorporate a little bit of joy into my life every day, then I'm set.
Setting those intentions can be so hard, I feel, in this like perpetual busy society and cycle that we're in. And especially so for women who are often carrying a mental load of organizing the home. And it's kind of, it's where I think our brains are often most suited, but it still is such an exhausting endeavor.
Yes.
And the organizing of the home. And there's, lots of different women. Not all women have families or children. But certainly it's just an added, I think, weight that we carry naturally.
Yes.
So to have this sacred space, to create community, to really set intentions, and to do so within a group that is all wanting that positive personal growth, it is such an opportunity that I'm so excited our dear listeners get to hear more about and gain their curiosity, because having had been a participant and presented, it's worth it, and it's so fun. It's so fun. Like growth and healing doesn't have to feel always like difficult and painful. It can be fun. And that's the opportunity that you create for women.
Yes. And it's been really beautiful to watch. I'm a crier, so I cry over everything. And I've been able to hold it together at all of my retreats, but so many other women that are attending. So I try to be more professional because I'm the host and the photographer for the retreat and everything. And so, but all of the women that are actually in attendance of the retreat, they typically feel very safe and comfortable to shed those tears and to talk about hard things. And a lot of really hard topics come up in the conversations around the workshops. And so it's been really great to watch them kind of like support each other and lift each other up through those hard moments. Yeah. But that's another thing that is a part of the retreats is I do a mini self-love portrait session with each attendee. So I'm actually a photographer first and foremost, and then the retreats are just another leg of my business, so to speak. And so I pull each woman aside throughout the day, and I do individual portrait sessions with each one that are meant to lift them up and make them feel comfortable and loved in their own body. So that's another thing that you get with attending a retreat. So, and then we have meals throughout the day, and each woman gets a swag bag full of great things, workbooks and candles and self-care items and all sorts of stuff that they can continue. Yes, exactly. Continue their journey after they leave the retreat.
Right. And you were also mentioning off camera that all of the meals and refreshments are going to be locally sourced and from female-owned vendors.
Yes.
So that's another just really wholehearted and a holistic approach to supporting women in the community. So this is such a cool opportunity. It's going to be happening September 14th. And I encourage everyone who is a female and is interested in these things that we're discussing as far as personal growth and having intention and community. It's a need that we have, and it's a courageous act to make that decision and set that time aside and invest in yourself when you have such a busy schedule. And I know that life can go so quickly, but it is an investment in your well-being, and that includes the well-being of your family and friends, because there are ripple effects.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that when we heal ourselves, we're doing our part to heal a part of our community and our world. And so taking responsibility for those pieces and doing so in a safe environment, there's just nothing better. It's a sweet spot.
Well, and there's actually been studies done that have shown that when women are happy and joyful and successful and taking care of themselves, that the communities actually thrive. So that's part of my mission, is to help our community thrive, because so many women before I even hosted these, so many women that I had met with and talked to, and my own clients and all of that they're missing that major piece of taking care of themselves. They're constantly taking care of others. We're caretakers by nature. Yes. And so it's really hard to put maybe your family needs or your client needs or your employer needs or whatever aside and focus on you. And so I really wanted to cultivate that space that gives them permission to just step away for one day. It's not overnight. They don't have to find overnight childcare or lodging or flights or anything like that. It's local, it's one day, and it's so transformative. So
unless, this is going out worldwide.
That's
so if anyone
true.
wants to fly in, please
if you want to come to Richland, Washington for a women's retreat, it's a one-day retreat. We got lots of cool places to stay too. So
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. It's such a wonderful addition to our community and a treat for anyone who attends.
Thanks.
Yeah. So you said this is your 4th year doing it? Okay. What are some of your major takeaways from previous years, would you say?
I have found that one of the main things is that it's really important to me that people stay for the whole day. I know that the one that Kaylani participated in, there was a lot of coming and going of presenters. And that specific retreat didn't feel like the women opened up and were as vulnerable and they didn't connect as well as the other retreats have. And so I have made it a point to make sure that the presenters know, you can't just come for your portion. I want you to be there for the whole day.
Okay.
And so, because then that allows the presenters to take part in the other workshops that are happening. And it also allows them to kind of be a part of that community, because a lot of times the women that are attending, they want to talk to that person and learn more about them and maybe even work with them in whatever capacity that they work. And so I think it's really important that we have that kind of insulated, everybody is there for the full day. It's worked out really well since I've enacted that.
I think that creates such a safe container and a holding space for people to feel safe to open up. And also it normalizes that we're all in this process of learning more about ourselves, of prioritizing those things.
Yeah.
It's never a point where it's I fully arrived, but that it's a constant balance. And it's good for that to be demystified. I also feel that you'll find a lot of women. There are women who are in such high positions, have so much responsibility, and imposter syndrome and perfectionism and things like that can be so entrenched, even though they're so highly capable. And what I love is that it creates a space for that to be discussed.
Yes.
And that can be such a faux pas, such a scary area for someone who's highly accomplished to navigate. And this is the space to do so.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what you're saying too, and even recognizing I've learned along the way, because that ties into the grander theme of our podcast episode today about chasing your passion and starting a business around your passion, because it takes humility, it takes growth, it takes being brave enough to mess up and to fumble and to learn.
Yeah.
And I think the perfectionism is so pervasive in our society in general. We can be afraid of it won't look right. What will people think? What if? Right. And I want to know a little bit, if you mentioned a little bit about imposter syndrome, but your navigation of that.
Yeah. And actually tying in what James asked about what I've learned, and this, when I was going to host my very first one, I actually reached out to a friend who had hosted women's retreats in the past, and she had stepped away from doing them because she had so many other responsibilities. And I just texted her and said, hey, I want to chat about an idea I have. So we met for coffee, and I told her that I wanted to host a women's retreat. And she was like, you're the perfect person. I think that's a great idea. And when I went into this conversation, I went into it thinking she's going to tell me that's stupid. It's too much work, all this stuff, all of those imposter syndrome things. And I don't have the right skill set. I don't have the right network, whatever the case may be. And so she 100% encouraged me, and she's actually been a part of every single one of my retreats since then. This year she won't. Unfortunately, she was not able to be a part of this one, but she's still supporting me,
behind the scenes
in the background. Yeah, she's amazing.
Shout out Becky.
Yes, Becky's amazing. I love her. And so that's another thing that I've learned along the way, is that if you don't put your idea out into the universe, you never know what's going to happen. So if you let fear get in your way, and you think, no, this idea is too big, or this idea, I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't have the right skill set, or I don't have the right network. All the things that I was thinking were false. And so I put it out into the world, and the first one was hugely successful. And so a lot of people who host retreats, they actually lose money in their first one, and I didn't. So that was really cool. And just leaning into my community. Like, there are so many people in our community that want to support this. And the women at Layered Cake Artistry, they have been so supportive of it that last year when I reached out to see if they were willing to sponsor desserts, they were like, sign us up for every year. We will provide your desserts every single year.
So
and I was like, this is amazing.
And
Like,
they're
our community is so great. So I really learned to
be open to
do it scared.
Right. Yeah, do it scared. And you went into it with curiosity. That's what I love, is like a beginning space is like, it doesn't hurt to be curious.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to ask a question. And I don't know about you, but it's having me reflect a little bit on this particular passion project, the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
YouTube. And when we first reached out to one another, and I was like, I had a similar thoughts. Like, maybe he's too busy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know anything about doing any of this. And we didn't start with all the information that we have now and everything that we've learned.
Right. That was my camera. It's okay. 100%. There was this, it reminds me of this Seth Rogen clip where he says, like, you can either attempt to chase your dream, and there's a chance you'll fail, but there's also a chance you'll succeed, or you can not try, and there's 100% guarantee that you're not going to succeed. It's like, just try it. Try it scared. And I mean, that's so valid. That's a really good thing to say.
Yeah, like, I'd rather fail and know that it just didn't work out for whatever reason than constantly wonder what could have been.
Absolutely.
Right. Because who knows, like, I could have not done the retreats and never known all of these beautiful women that I've met through them, and never known what could have been, and never created this community.
Right.
Or I could have just done it scared like I did, and grown it and learned each year and continued to make changes. And so...
And that's something that you'll always come back to, is for like inspiration, because like, when I think about our podcast endeavor, like, just, I mean, where we're at today, if we had never gone for it, we wouldn't, but maybe even if we had waited 6 months, we'd be 6 months behind. So just do it now. So good job.
Yeah.
And there's been so many like ripple effects from the podcast. It's helped me like reflect more deeply on myself. It's helped me become a better communicator, make new connections. I know you've experienced the same things. So it's like, be open to a grander ripple effect. And the biggest part is, the joy of the community that we're creating, which I love that you highlighted. It really is based on vulnerability, is where community thrives.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your goal is like a very similar vein, right? Where you just you want to cultivate a community that you've dreamed of, right? And so then and it's so cool, because then there's so many things that when you really go for it, you didn't even expect. You didn't even anticipate. You're just like, oh wow, that's a really pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
It's been really fun. Like, not just, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Not to say that like, I just have a lot of fun doing everything. It is a lot of work, and getting people to invest in themselves is like pulling teeth. And so it takes a lot of reaching out to community members and getting marketing partners and getting the word out to get people to attend the retreats. And the first two, most of the people that attended were people that I knew, or that knew a presenter, or that knew, a vendor or whatever. This last one in 2023, there were several women that I had never once met that attended. And I was so excited, because that showed me that like what I was doing was reaching the right people, and it was getting the word out to the right people who needed to be there. And it wound up being really beautiful. And it was my biggest one. So
it takes time of being consistent and just being there and available for all those factors to line up. So it takes a lot of diligent work, and thank you for doing that, and that shines a beacon for other people too, who are wanting to take a next step,
right?
Feeling that that momentum and maybe not knowing where to funnel it. And here it is. It's right here, folks.
Yeah.
The Self-Love Retreat's happening in Richland, Washington.
Join us.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast.
I'd love to know a little bit about, like when you think, if you were to create some kind of a mission statement on what it is you're wanting to cultivate, not just in the retreat space, but in the photography work that you do. It's more than just snapping a photo.
Right.
Tell me about how that fuels your soul.
I love to watch the way people's perception of themselves change when they step in front of my camera. It's so beautiful. You're going to make me cry.
I love it. Cry. We have tissues right there. We're prepared.
Like I said, I'm a crier. I cry over everything. So my family makes fun of me for
watching
it.
you cry.
So I love just to help people see that they're more than what they think they are. And I've had so many, like a lot of my clients are now my friends, which it just kind of like, we spend so much time planning the sessions and then working together. They're in front of my camera. We spend a whole day together getting pictures and chatting and, you know, all of the things. And they eventually become my friends. So actually, one of my very first like full branding, I'm a branding photographer. One of my very first full branding photography clients actually is now one of my closest friends. And we get together monthly with a few of our other friends for dinner and time together and connection. And so through those conversations, I've learned that my work is changing lives, which I really love to do. I love to make people feel better about themselves. I love when I meet with a client initially, every single client is like, I'm awkward, or I don't take pictures well, or I'm not photogenic, or I need to lose some weight, or, you know, whatever perception they have of themselves that's negative because society tells us that we're not enough, completely changes after the photo shoot. They come back to me afterwards and they're like, it was so great working with you. I had a blast. I feel so much better about myself. It was empowering. One person called it an act of self-love. Like there's been so much positive feedback, and that just fills my soul because I know that I'm making them feel good about themselves. And that's what I want to do. I want to build community, and I want to make people see that they're beautiful despite what media tells us or what this society tells us, or you know, what their families told them growing up, you know, any of the flaws that have been pointed out to them can actually be beautiful quirks that they embrace. And that's a big part of my photography sessions is authenticity. So I'm a big proponent of being your authentic self, especially as a business owner and an entrepreneur. Like if you're not showing your authentic self, then you're breaking a little bit of that trust that people put in you when they give you their money. And so I think it's really important that you're just your most authentic self on social media and in your branding photos and on your website, because it helps draw in the people that are going to be great fits to work with. And so I really bring that to the planning sessions of my photo shoots because I think it's really important. And I have had some clients that were not my ideal clients and who asked me to do a lot of huge Photoshop body changing edits. And I did them, but I wasn't comfortable with it. And so now that is a hard, fast line that I do not cross. And I make sure that my clients know I'm going to show your most authentic self. So if it's not something that can go away in a week, you know, like a pimple or a sunburn or, you know, whatever, then I'm not going to edit it out.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're going to want, I'm not the right fit for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to take people's money and then not give them what they want. So that's a major part of my business. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you totally did. I was just had the cheesiest,
I get off on
big
tangents.
smile. No, I had the biggest smile on my face the whole time you were talking because I can just see you glowing. And I think, you know, my work is different, but it's similar in the sense of like, I just get to love people.
Yeah.
I get to see who they are and love them. And that feels good to have a space to express that. And so much of what you're describing is you're not just people who work with you. They're not just getting like fabulous photos. I've had photos done with Jamie before too. It's so much fun. You're also getting this opportunity to see yourself in a different light and to let that authenticity shine out like you're describing. So it's it's a self-care, beautiful gift for yourself in more ways than one.
Yes.
And how fun.
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah,
I'm a lot of fun to hang out with, guys.
I know. For anyone who's just listening, just so you know, it's always a fun surprise what color Jamie's hair is going to be. She always has like bright, fun colored clothing. She's just advertising her fun and her authenticity right there. And
what you see is what you get.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, sorry.
And then I stared at you awkwardly. Sorry.
Like, go ahead.
Tell me more, James.
No, what you said about you get to, it's kind of like an act of love to show people like their actual value and to help them understand that they are like beautiful, even if they don't realize it. Because that's something we've sort of shared on this podcast, like my own personal journey. You know, like I didn't know, I thought I was like in a place of isolation or something, and you know, it took somebody who saw my worth to help me, like to love me out of it, to where I started to agree what my worth is. And so for you to say, you know, I love showcasing people, like, you know, taking pictures of their authenticity and their reality, and then turning around and saying, see how beautiful you are. Like, and then they're like, yeah, you're right. That's such an act of love, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that, like the visual component of it, you know?
Yeah. And I'm in a season in my like mom bod phase of life that I'm like, oh, my body is here. It tells a story, and it's been this vessel that has allowed me to experience life and to engage with life. It's my home, and I need to be a good steward of it. And I feel that you are really embodying that sentiment in the work that you do too, which is very different than what a lot of women specifically, but men as well, grew up feeling as though our body is designed to look a certain way or to please a certain person, and critical messages, not just sometimes directed right at us, but just, I feel like my parents didn't speak kindly about their bodies and model that for us either. And so to be in a safe space that really allows someone's healing to unlock before you, to create this holding space. Like, I can create this space for that to blossom out of you right before my camera.
Yeah.
Right. And to capture it.
Yes.
So cool.
That's something that I bring to my home too. I have a 12-year-old daughter. And so body image is really important for me to show her that we need to love ourselves despite what we look like. And so I try really hard not to ever make negative comments about my body or hers. I mean, they're soaking everything in. And so I remember when she was really little, she made a comment about my thighs. You know, kids don't have a filter. No. And so, you know, she's made some comment about mommy's fat thighs or something like that. And I patted my thighs and I said, these thick thighs have gotten me through a lot, girl. And so I've just tried to turn all of those comments that you see and that you hear into something positive. Like, our bodies are exactly as they're supposed to be. And, you know, we can change them. We can exercise. We can eat better. We can do whatever. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to fit societal beauty standards. And that's okay, because they're bullshit. So, I think that that's really important for us to also show to our children, which is a big part of why I started my business to begin with, is that I wanted to show my daughter that she could chase her dreams and that she may not succeed or she may succeed. And I was able to quit my job 2 years ago. Now, actually 2 years in June. And go full time in my business. And while I haven't reached the revenue goals that I was hoping for, I'm still able to contribute to the household income, and I'm still able to do it full time without worrying about bills and without stressing. And so far I haven't had to get another job, but that was a major reason that I started my business, was because I wanted to get away from corporate, B, to do something creative, and C, to show my daughter that she could chase her dreams and really make something out of it.
Yeah. And so often when you begin an endeavor, you don't know all the steps. And I don't think we're meant to. Like, if we knew everything, all the hours it has taken for this to work, I might have been more hesitant.
Right.
But that doesn't mean, like, having had invested that time and like every week showing up at the studio with you, but I don't regret it at all. You know, so you have to allow for the unfolding to surprise you and be okay with not knowing everything. And that's an uncomfortable space for people. So it's a real act of trust in yourself.
Right.
What I had to recognize, and I wonder if you may or may not resonate with this lesson too, is that, you know, I can recognize, oh, there's maybe anxiety with a new endeavor, but at the end of the day, I can trust in myself to navigate hard conversations, to navigate surprises that come up. I don't need to have it all predicted in a crystal ball to know that I'll be okay. I don't need to know it all.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious about, what are goals that you foresee right now as you look forward to future chapters? Are there ideas marinating in there?
There are.
Ooh, are you ready to share any of them with us?
I'm working with a business coach right now. One thing that I've learned while growing my business is that I can't do it alone. And so I've worked with a couple of different business coaches and in a couple of different like group coaching scenarios. Right now I'm working with a one-to-one business coach and I absolutely adore her. And she's helping me come up with some new, fresh ideas that are going to make some bigger things happen in my business.
Yay.
I'm not going to share that yet.
Okay. We'll have to have you back to share more.
Yes, absolutely. But actually, James and I were talking before we started recording. She is going to help me start creating some larger packages to approach big companies with, rather than just sticking to small businesses and entrepreneurs, because those are like where my heart is, but also a lot of them are struggling financially right now. So photography is a luxury, as we talked about, and it's not something that everybody can just drop money on. And so while I still want to be supporting them and creating packages that fit within their budgets and their goals, I also need to be able to earn enough money to fit with my goals.
Got to pay the bills. Yeah.
Well, not only that, there are people to inspire in those spaces that maybe need it more than ever in the corporate world.
Right.
Yeah.
And who knows what connections and things that might, the seeds you might plant there.
Yeah.
Again, it's another like unknown wondering, but I think that there's magic to be had.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really want to get into more product-based photography. So if there's any product-based businesses out there.
Yes, you can make it look pretty.
I've worked with quite a few local product, like sticker makers and candle makers and things like that. And all of those have been amazing. But I would love to get into the larger space as well. So
yeah. So if I'm hearing some of the steps that you have taken to get to where you are now, and I reflect back to on the things that we've done, I would say to people, and I'd love for you to like edit my thoughts as I synthesize them, but be curious. Like, don't let your fear overcome your curiosity. Let that curiosity shine. And like, who can you start asking questions to? Okay. And then I also heard, I think everyone needs a cheerleader. Yeah.
Yes.
Someone who's like, that's a good idea. Let's toss this idea back and forth. How can we grow it? How can we let it shift and morph?
And surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. Honestly.
That's a good one. Yes. That's a really good one.
I was watching something with my daughter the other day and they said something about like, do you ever feel like you're the smartest person in the room? And she was like, I always feel that way, because she's, 12 and she really is really smart, but she, Anyway.
No, I get it. I have a 13-year-old. I get it. Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, I never feel like the smartest person in the room.
Same.
Because I make a point to surround myself with people that are smarter than me. And she looked at me like I was crazy. But like,
she'll get it someday.
You can't grow if you're surrounding yourself with only people that you feel better than or smarter than or bigger than. Or, you shouldn't feel that way anyway, just as a human. But if you're not surrounding yourself with people that make you think and that call you on your bullshit and that help you grow and that encourage your growth, then what's the point?
Right.
You're never gonna you're never gonna reach your full potential if you're not working towards growth.
And to like bring it to like a real meta space, reach your full potential with this life and this precious time that we have here on this earth. Like, your options are to be a little afraid and do it anyways, or to be stagnant and not feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
I feel like those are your decisions you have there. And then hopefully that gives you that courage to take that first step and to be curious. Just like, how can you learn more? Who can you reach out to? And then the last thing that you were also highlighting was about like, create your team.
Yes.
Create your team to help you along the way, which is so needed and necessary and constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I actually attended a retreat this weekend put on by another group of women, and again, community over competition. So they're hosting retreats called MAC retreats, and they are 3-hour retreats every month for a full year. So you can go to one, or you can buy the package and go to all of them. Mm-hmm. And it was a beautiful experience. And like I said, it was only 3 hours, which was like a great Saturday afternoon thing to do. But the reason that I went is because they're wanting me to do photography for their retreats. And so they invited me to attend and see what it was all about. It was the very first one. And I'm going to be taking pictures for their retreats moving forward. And we also talked afterwards about me presenting at one of the retreats. And I was like, I don't know what that would look like. And beforehand, we had talked on Messenger a little bit. And I told her, I'm terrified of speaking in front of a large group of people, but I'm open to the conversation. And it's that whole being curious. It's that whole doing it scared. Like, I'm terrified. I hate speaking in front of large groups of people, but let's talk about it. Let's see how we can make it work and how I can share my knowledge and my gifts with the group. So
what's so funny is like podcasting is such a little trap because you're speaking to like a couple hundred people.
I know,
right
but
now.
I don't see that. It's the same with on my Instagram. I go live or I do videos and I just share them. And I'm like, I know I have a few thousand followers, but like, I'm just talking to my camera. I'm just by myself in my living with my dogs. Like, it's not scary.
Right. Yeah.
I know lots of people are going to see this or hear this, but it's way easier than standing in front of a room full of people.
Yeah.
You know?
I love the energy of both, but this has been so fun to have our little podcast space because it really does allow for maximum authenticity to come out.
And I love listening to you guys.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank
was so funny last year. Kaylani, you attended one of my group branding sessions, and I was listening to Delightfully Dysfunctional while I was editing your photos. And I was like, I feel like I'm breaking the fourth wall or something. I'm like looking at your face and hearing your voice, and you're not in the room with me.
It's a lot of Kaylani all at once.
It was great.
I'm glad you could handle it. She didn't implode. You could handle it.
No, it was amazing. I need more Kaylani in my life.
Oh, I love it. Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Jamie, just to talk about the authenticity of living your passion and to share more about the women's retreat, the Self-Love Women's Retreat coming up September 14th. This is an opportunity that you want to be a part of if you are a woman and you've been seeking greater community and like even what you were describing, like to not be the smartest person, but to surround yourself with a community of women who are wanting to lift you up and bring their best selves to this special sacred time. This is it.
Yeah.
Right. This is your sign.
Yes. Join us. It's going to be so much fun.
And
I'm
how
so
can
excited.
they find you?
So you can go to my website, www.jkphotoswa. So jkphotoswa.com.
Okay.
I'm also on Instagram with the same handle, jkphotoswa. Everything, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything is jkphotoswa. So you can find me easily. And the retreat link is on my website. It's in my Instagram. I also have an Instagram specifically for the retreats, which is Empower You Women. So I post more on there about the retreats, but I also share it on my photos page just because they kind of intertwine anyway.
Yeah.
So
wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
And we're excited to see more of what happens with the things you're brewing.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted, listeners.
Yes. Be sure to check out Jamie at jkphotoswa.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry. Be sure to check out Jamie at jkphotoswa.com. Thank you so much for listening to us, Delightful Humans, as we talk more and share more about authenticity, vulnerability, and really letting your best self shine through. And we will see you in the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.